If 10 years down the line I'm still pooping myself, either there's a major problem with me or there's a major problem with that system. My name is Dean Haystack, the Dean, and you're listening to The Coffee Conversation. There's major differences between socialism and social structures. Social structures and systems are good and certainly needed to help people grow and even to progress. Socialism seems like a good idea because it's sold on many of the elements of social structures and systems, yet it seems to ignore the purpose of those systems and structures. Let me explain. When I was born, I couldn't breathe and the doctor had to help that along. Then I couldn't find the boob to feed, and once I found the boob, I didn't know how to latch on, and once I had fed, I needed to be burped, and after that somebody had to wipe my bottom. Now, the purpose of a social structure is to take that useless bundle of adorable potential and bring it to a point of self-determination, and then even to contribute back to the family, to the community, and even in society. If 10 years down the line I'm still pooping myself, either there's a major problem with me or there's a major problem with that system. If after 26 years I can't feed myself, then there's definitely a problem. It's proven that you only need to achieve 3 things in order to not remain in poverty. Number 1, you need to finish school. Number 2, not have children until you're married. And the third thing is just to get a job. Now, 67 out of every 100 babies born every day in South Africa don't even have a father written on the birth certificate. One of the reasons for this is that as soon as a father is written on the birth certificate, it is more difficult to get a government grant. Nearly all single mothers are teenagers or young adults who either don't finish school or further their studies, and because of that, they don't get decent jobs. So although the grant does keep them afloat, they're actually just floating in shit, and unfortunately, there's no way out of it. Poor people are useless. If you don't believe me, just go ask them. If you say to me, hey, I'm not useless, I say that's good. It means you're not actually poor. You might be struggling, but you're not poor. Poor people know that they're useless, or at least feel useless. That's why they hate being poor. Socialism likes poor people. Poor people need governments to look after them. People with money don't. Socialists don't love poor people. They just seem to hate anybody who has money. A leader said the other day, and I quote, that easing lockdown prematurely bends to capitalist greed. Saying something like that is drastically irresponsible and bends to a hateful ideology. It certainly doesn't express love for the poor. Hundreds of thousands of jobs are gone. Hundreds of thousands of more people are now going hungry. Hundreds of thousands of children aren't getting their 1 meal a day at schools in this lockdown. Hundreds and thousands of men, women, and children are stuck in abusive homes now, day and night. And hundreds and thousands of businesses will never open their doors again. Really? Capitalist greed? Or is this selfish power-mongering? Good social structures will take people out the gutter, restore their dignity to the point of self-determination, and then release them back into the free society in order to contribute back and grow. In 1991, I went to Israel and I stayed on a kibbutz. Kibbutz is a social structure and a communal structure in the society within a democratic free market. It's not government controlled. The people who went to Israel with nothing were able to go to these kibbutzes and at least have their dignity restored and give back to their communities and societies. At any point, they are allowed to leave those kibbutzes in order to move into the free market and do even better in life once they're back on their feet. These kibbutzes seem to be failing because there aren't enough poor people to live in them anymore, so they have to outsource some of their labor just to keep the kibbutzes running. Although that seems like a failure, isn't that actually its success? That it's free to fail because there's no longer anybody in the gutter. The reason why Israel keeps the kibbutzes and the moshavs going is because they know at any point in time Jews around the world can come under attack once again, and they will always have somewhere to go. But the success of the kibbutz is actually that it's free to fail because nobody needs it anymore. Good social systems are free to fail. Bad social systems have to stay in place, and that's their failure. I hear the accusation of monopoly capital. I don't like monopoly capital. But government monopoly capital is socialism, and it's enforced down the barrel of a gun. And it's the biggest gun in the country, the police and the military. Eskom in South Africa is an example. Nobody else in the country is allowed to produce and sell electricity. And if you try, you will be arrested. And there's no other alternative. They are even now taxing anybody who creates their own renewable energy. There is no opt-out. Governments are incentivized to underperform. A manager in government given R1 billion budget to achieve X in a year, if he doesn't spend all of his budget, he then gets penalized the next year. So it promotes irresponsible spending. If he manages to achieve his task in 10 or 11 months instead of 12, he then gets persecuted by those contemporaries around him because they aren't performing. Now, if I'm a manager in the free markets and in industry, if I'm given R1 billion in order to achieve a goal and I only spend 900,000, I get a bonus. If I manage to achieve the objective in 10 or 11 months, I get a promotion. Dominance hierarchies are predominantly in government. In industry, it's a competency hierarchy. This crisis will result in one of two things. There's only two possible outcomes. Either we will have more, if not total, government control, or less government control. Maybe even smaller government. Government will have to take control unless the free market civil economy comes up with solutions. Either way, major change is here. Again, I don't think it's too much to say that it is the end of the world as we know it. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. What man are you? Or woman, for that matter, of course.